Hey guys, Ali Hitch here, fat loss specialist and owner of Dream Body Bootcamp. So today, I told you we were going to talk about this earlier in the weekly roundup video. We are talking about EPOC. Now, you won't need to know or remember, you need to remember the name of it. And the name is EPOC. So it stands for excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. You don't actually need to remember this, that's not important, but what you do need to remember is the mechanics behind it and the theory behind it and why it works for fat loss. So to begin with, exercise, we know when we exercise, we do that to burn calories, to burn up fat, to use the energy of our fat to provide the energy for the exercise we're doing, and importantly, for the recovery after the exercise. So to recover, we require oxygen, which is where it comes into the name post-exercise oxygen consumption. So we require oxygen, and the more oxygen we require to recover, the more fuel we need to use to help with the oxygen to recover. And this will lead us into homeostasis. So you don't really need to know what homeostasis is, apart from it leads us back to our normal state. So if we haven't been doing any exercise and we have been resting, we would be in homeostasis. So that's what it leads us to. So the key part here is the fact that we need to use oxygen to recover. And therefore we require fuel to help with the oxygen to recover. And this fuel, in terms of this, we want this fuel to be fat. Okay? So now we need to look at, in terms of recovery, the time it takes to recover from different kinds of exercise. So from low intensity exercise, so we can think of that as in terms of jogging or maybe the use of light weight. So a lot of fitness classes, you could term those low intensity exercises. It may not seem low intensity at the time, but when we talk about high intensity, you'll understand why. So recovery from low intensity exercise, with the use of oxygen and fuels, we tend to recover really quickly from that. And you might burn calories during the exercise, and potentially anywhere from 0 to 3 hours after the exercise. And this is for low intensity exercise. So afterwards, you could be burning for up to 3 hours, which isn't bad. We obviously want to be burning as much as we can, but this is where the issues come in. With high intensity exercises, such as something like sprints or the use of heavy weights with minimal rest and multiple sets, the key thing is heavier weight. You could then take a lot longer, recovery could take a lot longer, requiring much more oxygen and therefore fuels, because recovery takes a lot longer time. So it could be anywhere up from 12 hours plus, 24 hours plus, even 36 hours plus, you could be burning these extra calories to help you recover from the exercise that you've been doing. So the key thing with exercise, it's not what your body's doing during the actual activity, because that will burn a certain amount of calories, yes, but the key is what is your body doing after that? How long is it taking to recover, and how much fuel and oxygen does it take to get you back to your normal state? So if you're doing, again, low intensity exercises, you can recover quite quickly from that. In general, if you're doing high intensity exercises, the total time for recovery can be much longer. And because it's taking much longer, you're burning far more calories after the exercise than you are doing in terms of low intensity exercise. So the key thing here is we want your EPOC to be raised for as long as possible, so that you are using more fuel to help with the oxygen to recover over a longer period of time, because ultimately that means that more fat will be burnt. But if we do low intensity exercise such as jogging or light weights, we recover very quickly, and because you recovered so quickly, you no longer need to use additional oxygen or fuels, fat, to recover. So no more calories are being burnt after these 3 hours. So the key thing here is work with heavier weights at a very high intensity with minimal rest, multiple sets. That is the way you do it. And a lot of people say to me when I talk about this is the kind of training they need to be doing, they say, I don't want to get bulky, because they think lifting heavy weights is going to make them bigger. But don't forget, the reason people are working out is they want to lose fat in the first place. And a key principle behind that is a calorie deficit. And if you have a calorie deficit, there isn't any extra energy left to put on any muscle. So putting on muscle or putting on bulk, I mean a little bit of muscle may go on, but nothing in terms of what people are worried about. So you don't need to also worry about getting bulky because you are at a calorie deficit. And all of that energy that would go into building muscle is going in to help recover from the high intensity exercise that you've already been doing. So hopefully this makes sense, guys, and obviously in the last few videos we've been talking about doing high intensity exercise, and we talk about trying to get away from jogging and things like sprinting and using more weight, because ultimately we want you to burn as many calories as you can, and that comes from not in the short amount, not in the short window that you're actually exercising. The calories come from the time it takes to recover and how much oxygen and fuel you need to help recover. So hopefully that makes more sense. And this is obviously a core principle of how we train at Dream Body Bootcamp. So don't forget that is starting up on the 12th of June. The first program will be 6 weeks. If you have any issues with this, if you're not sure, if you still don't understand, just drop me a line, drop me a text or an email, and we will go through that and try and help you understand a little bit better.